Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Andrea Clark's book, Future Fit. And let's be honest, we're doing this because the world of work right now feels, well, it feels chaotic, doesn't it? The old roadmaps are totally useless, so we're here to figure out a new path forward and discover what it actually takes to stay relevant when the rules are being rewritten almost daily.
And this quote from Tom Goodwin, it just perfectly captures the huge shift we're all feeling. I mean, think about it for a second. Your value isn't about how many hours you clock in anymore. Nope. The new currency of work, the thing that really matters, is something technology can't fake. It's the value you create from your unique ideas, the results you deliver, and the relationships you build.
So, why does everything feel so uncertain? If you're feeling a little anxious about your career, you are definitely not alone. FutureFit argues we're not just facing a bit of change, we're trying to navigate a perfect storm where that old, reliable career ladder has pretty much crumbled into dust.
I mean, the pandemic was the ultimate proof, right? Digital projects that companies thought would take 5 years got crammed into the first 2 months. It was a really brutal lesson that the ground underneath our professional feet can literally vanish overnight. Now, of course, change itself isn't new, but the pace of that change, it's just terrifyingly fast. It took a whole decade to phase out roles like the transcribing secretary. Today, the skills you just learned a few years ago could already be on their way out. The shelf life of our expertise is shrinking right before our eyes.
So, how in the world do we navigate this storm? Well, FutureFit makes this really powerful argument. The answer isn't to try and compete with machines. It's to double down on the one thing they can't replicate, our humanity.
And here's the key takeaway, the bottom line. Technology isn't the whole story here. This is all about the choices we make. It's about how you decide to leverage your uniquely human skills, like empathy, creativity, and good judgment, to find your place and create real value in this new world.
Now, the book outlines 8 of these real skills, but for our purposes, we're going to zero in on the essential trio. These are the 3 pillars that form the core of a toolkit for not just surviving all this disruption, but actually thriving in it. And these 3 pillars, they really build on each other. So we'll start with reputation capital, which is basically the new currency of trust. Then we'll get into true adaptability, which you'll see is all about your mindset. And finally, we'll talk about active learning, the new non-negotiable requirement for career security. Okay, first up, reputation capital. In a world with way less face time, trust is everything. Your reputation isn't just your resume anymore. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. And honestly, that has become the ultimate career make or break. This quote from an HR executive just says it all. Leaders are looking right past the bullet points on your LinkedIn profile. They want to know about your character, your consistency, and get this, what it felt like to work with you. They want the full human picture. And building that kind of character, that reputation, it requires our second pillar, adaptability. But this isn't just about being flexible when your boss changes a deadline. No, this is a fundamental mindset that dictates how you approach every single challenge, every setback, and every opportunity to learn. The book draws on Carol Dweck's famous work here, and it contrasts 2 really powerful mindsets. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset, which basically sees our abilities as set in stone. On the other, you have the growth mindset, which is the belief that skills can be developed through dedication and hard work. And that mindset, the growth mindset, is the engine of adaptability. So how do you make that growth mindset practical? Well, you can use the simple 3-step framework. First, engage by actively looking for signs of change around you. Then, activate by framing that change as an opportunity, not a threat to be afraid of. And finally, you release the ego and the fear that hold you back. This is how you turn a mindset into a powerful daily habit. And this brings us to the third and, honestly, the most critical pillar. And it comes with a bit of a tough truth. The responsibility for keeping your skills relevant has totally shifted. Your company is not in charge of your career security anymore. You are. If you need a wake-up call, here it is. The World Economic Forum predicts that by 2025, which is right around the corner, half of all employees will need some kind of significant reskilling. That's a staggering number. So the only real question is, what's your plan? This is the new role model we should all be looking to, the augmented worker. See, they don't fear technology. They work with it. They augment their own skills with it. They understand, deep down, that their relevance depends on a daily commitment to upgrading their knowledge and mastering their human skills. And hey, just look at the skills that are most in demand. Do you see the pattern here? It's not about some specific coding language that's going to be outdated in 5 years. It's about deeply human, cognitive abilities like critical thinking and creativity. These are the timeless foundations of learning itself.
Futurist Alvin Toffler summarized our new reality just perfectly. He said, "It's not about what you already know. It's all about your capacity to constantly learn, to unlearn what's become obsolete, and to relearn what's coming next."
So ultimately, the future of work isn't something that just happens to you. It's a huge opportunity that you have the power to shape. By building your reputation, mastering an adaptable mindset, and committing to active learning, you're not just preparing for the future, you're actively creating it. So the only question left is, how will you invest in yourself?